8 signs a woman is highly attracted to you. Are you looking for indications that a lady finds you seductive? Be aware that ladies who are sexually aroused are similar to third base instructors. Both have an arsenal of nonverbal signs that are meant specifically for you. These signs are dispatched in secretive ways so as not to upset those around. Signs are disguised to the point that only a well-trained eye will pick up on the nuances. If you're a megadater, you've seen all these signs before. Unlike baseball teams, women use more or less the same signs. Simultaneously dating 2 or more women will sharpen your ability to discern meaning from these sexual signs. But nonverbal cues aren't the only indication of arousal that she's offering. Plenty of flirtatious contact occurs through screens in today's dating scene, where texting is king. Women express their interest in males through texts, calls, photos, and even emoticons. You must recognize signals of a woman's sexual attraction to you both in person and through technology in order to win her over these days. In this post, we'll examine the most common signals women use to express their desire. Number 1, she wants to sit next to you. We put up barriers when women are apprehensive of a man. We stroll with our arms crossed, purses in the center of the table, and a safe gap between us. However, those boundaries are reduced when we are fond of a man. In order to protect oneself from unwanted sexual approaches, boundaries are created. We just won't sit next to you if you intend to touch our legs from below the table, but just because we sit next to you doesn't mean we have to desire to be touched. The removal of barriers is a sign that we're now comfortable with you. We close the proximity gap in order to get within reach of your touch. But don't put your hands down her pants just because she chose to sit next to you. Instead, test the waters by touching her in innocuous areas. Examine her hands, give her a friendly nudge with your elbow, and touch her upper back. After touching her, wait for a response. If she gets even closer to you or initiates physical touch, it means she enjoys your inquisitive touch and wants more. Heat things up slowly, and when in doubt, keep your hands to yourself. Even if you're sure that she's into you, that doesn't mean you should sustain physical touch for the rest of the night. Showering her with affection and then abruptly retracting it is an efficient way to increase sexual tension. Number 2, she continually glances at your lips. Forget the eyes being the window to the soul. When you're on a date, the eyes are the window to desire. Her eyes will reveal her cards. She's not looking at your lips because she finds them boring, rather she looks at them because she can't stop imagining herself kissing them. Our eyes gravitate to whatever interests us most. Whether the object of our desire is a phone, the TV, the woman with the killer smile, or your date's lips. If you catch her resting her gaze on your lips, that's a pretty solid sign that a woman is attracted to you sexually. While on a date, her eyes will primarily be ensconced in yours. Don't jump the gun and take this as a sign of sexual interest. This is simply respectful. However, if those eyes take a jaunt down south to your lips, chest, arms, or back, then her respectful gaze just became a more sexual one. Number 3, she can't subconsciously stop touching you. Sitting next to you is one thing, but breaking the invisible barrier by initiating touch is a clear indication that she's into you, and most likely sexually attracted to you. The thing is, she may not even be aware that she's doing it. Sometimes her subconscious urge to touch you will spring to the surface in the form of hand touching, leg touching, playful pushes, etc. Not everything we do on dates is calculated. The more comfortable she feels with you, the more likely she is to let her subconscious urges take over. Don't feel obliged to immediately reciprocate her physical touches. Guarding your affection will allow sexual tension to rise. Responding in an overly affectionate way might snap her out of her subconscious rhythm. The subconscious touch will most likely manifest itself in the form of a touch right after a joke is made. Place your hands within touching distance so she has an easy target to touch. If you're seated across the table from each other, dangle them in front of her as your joke is being made. If she touches them after a joke, that's a fairly obvious sign a woman is attracted to you sexually. Number 4. She wears a sexy fragrance. Careful with this one. In general, women will wear fragrances. This isn't because they're always on the prowl for a male suitor, more so it's just because they like smelling good. To discern whether this is a sign or not, we'll have to think back to your previous dates. Do you recall her wearing a pungent perfume during your first or second dates? If after getting to know you better she now dolls herself up, it means that she's making a concerted effort to win your attraction. Though keep in mind that context is always important. Let's say that the first 2 dates were in no way romantic. The first was a coffee date at a bohemian coffee joint, and the second was an outing to a county fair. Ask your typical female and she might tell you that the settings of the first 2 dates don't warrant the application of a pungent fragrance. The third date, at a ritzy Italian restaurant, does, however, warrant such an application. Regardless of the context, she's still making an effort to capture your attention. Number 5. She smiles a lot. I don't need to link to an article on human evolution to demonstrate the importance of smiling. Smiling is a universal exercise that humans carry out whenever they're pleased. The better a time we're having, the bigger our smiles become. Though just because she's giving her cheek muscles a workout doesn't necessarily mean she's turned on. Having your date signal one of the aforementioned nonverbal signs shouldn't be taken as a go-ahead to engage in increased flirting. Only once she's conveyed various signs should you escalate sexual tension. Only heat things up once you're certain of reciprocation. Heating things up before she's been warmed up could backfire and leave you burnt. Number 6. She sends you a sexy video or picture. As I said, you should only get excited about explicitly sexual texts. There's no point in driving yourself crazy as you try to read into text messages. A sexy photo or video, however, doesn't need to be read into. This is the not IRL equivalent of having her hold your hand or touching your thigh under the table. It's a clear indication that she's got the hots for you. The real question is how to handle this. Don't send a photo or video back unless she requests it. Play it cool while keeping it flirty. You wouldn't want to go cold on her or make her feel weird for putting herself out there. Responding in a less than enthusiastic manner to such a message could result in her shying away. Number 7. She keeps coming up with reasons to text you. Everything reminds her of you. She said it herself. She sends you a song because she thinks you'll like it. She checked out that new series on Netflix and now wants to chat about it. She even sent you a photo of her food because she recalled that you too were a fan of Indian food. Does she keep prodding you without having been provoked? She clearly doesn't need to be sending you these messages, but she feels compelled to. While this isn't a sign that a woman is attracted to you sexually, it's a clear indication that you occupy more space in her mind than she wants you to. Now it's time to reciprocate with some signs of attraction of your own. If you see any of these signs while you are dating a girl, then be sure she is highly attracted to you.